Well-known Russian Z blogger and propagandist Yuri Kotenok unexpectedly declared that Russia had failed its so-called SVO, failing to achieve its initial goals even after 3.5 years. As Kotenok stated in an interview, a fragment of which appeared online, Russia was unable to achieve either the denazification or the demilitarization of Ukraine. Furthermore, Kotenok stated that the front has achieved a dead end, and even a complete takeover of the Donetsk region could take years. The propagandist hinted that the situation currently appears to be at a dead end. According to rough estimates, if we continue to advance at this rate through fortified areas, breaking through the enemy's defenses, we will be moving for years. According to my calculations, if we continue to advance at this rate, gnawing away tens of meters a day, it will take us from a year to a year and a half just to liberate the territory of the DPR, the military correspondent stated. Kotenok, who had previously publicly supported the war and called for its continuation, suddenly admitted that Russia's military goals in Ukraine remained only on paper. But the real situation is significantly different. It's been 3.5 years since we launched the special military operation. How close are we to achieving our goals? Frankly, we're at the beginning of a long journey, despite the losses and destruction, Kotenok said. As a reminder, Yuri Kotenok is a Russian war correspondent, blogger and propagandist who covers the war in Ukraine and supports Russia's aggressive goals. Recall, Vladimir Putin's Russia is a repressive state. This is hardly news, having witnessed and experienced a purge of the media that began 25 years ago, one of the first political projects of the then newly elected president. When Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, nearly all independent Russian outlets, Meduza, Mediazona, Holod, Verstka and others were forced into exile in order to keep operating. The publication you're reading now, Holod, has been labeled a foreign agent and is blocked in Russia and operates from neighboring countries. In other words, the space for dissent hasn't just been limited, it's been burned to the ground. And yet, 3.5 years into the war, the Russian state continues to tolerate a sprawling media ecosystem that is hard to control and in clear violation of the country's repressive laws. It's known to as Z media, referring to the letter that has come to signify fervent support for the Ukraine invasion. Here's just one recent example. Last month's Ukrainian drone attacks on Russia's strategic air bases, the so-called spiderweb operation. Every video released by Ukraine's security service was reposted and scrutinized by Russian military bloggers. Z bloggers, especially those fighting on the front lines themselves, wrote hundreds of posts about the destruction of strategic bombers. These posts were both angry and analytical, breaking down in sometimes brutally succinct expressions, fuck up and disgrace, the failure of Moscow's military brass to defend itself. Experts say that ongoing war in Ukraine is ending Russian society's tolerance for the dictator.
Grand Duke Guillaume swore an oath to ascend to the throne of Luxembourg on Friday in a traditional ceremony attended by royals and European heads of state. According to Associated Press, church bells rang out just before hundreds crowded outside the Grand Palace began chanting, "Guillaume, Guillaume," as the new Grand Duke walked onto a balcony to greet his new subjects. Grand Duke Guillaume, 43, wearing an olive-green military uniform with a yellow sash, was flanked by the royal family, including his wife, Grand Duchess Stephanie, in a sky-blue gown. They carried their two children, designated heir Charles, 5, and 2-year-old Francois, both clad in shorts. Crowd members outside the palace praised the charismatic Duke at a ceremony that one man visiting from Australia described as a very special occasion. Just moments earlier, Guillaume had taken the throne after swearing the sovereign's oath in Luxembourg's parliament. I will live the life of my people, from whom I do not want to be separated by any barrier. I will share their joys and sufferings, Guillaume said, quoting a 1919 speech by one of his predecessors, the Grand Duchess Charlotte, in his first address to the nation. He drew a parallel between the carnage of World War I and geopolitical tensions today. A symbol of the principles of freedom and unity enshrined in our Constitution, the monarchy has remained then as now a constant point of reference and a steadfast support in times of crisis. In this sense, the oath I have just taken on the Constitution marks a significant institutional milestone for our country. Grand Duke Guillaume takes over from his father Henri, 70, who had served for 25 years in the largely symbolic role. The crowd gathered outside the yellow stone and ornate turrets of the palace carried photographs of the new Grand Duke and Duchess, others flags of Luxembourg and the red lion and orange fields of the Royal House of Nassau. Some people had their faces painted in the Luxembourg flag, red, white and light blue. All across the old city of Luxembourg, storefronts boasted portraits of the royal couple and blue banners commemorated Troonwissel, or Ascension to the Throne, in Luxembourgish. Royals from the Netherlands and Belgium attended the ceremonies. Later on Friday, the new Grand Duke will host an evening gala for guests including French President Emmanuel Macron and German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Guillaume is Luxembourg's 7th Grand Duke since 1890, when the modern monarchy was established.
Oh, he's very charismatic, I think, and he has a modern touch too, so I think it will be a smooth handover. I'm optimistic about that.
Unique experience for me. It's my first time that I see ceremony in front of the new Grand Duke, and it's amazing for our country. I think we have a great future for Luxembourg.